Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of In the Prog Seat, the fantastic show we do each and every Tuesday night. We've got part two of our look at our favorite epic prog tracks, 10 minutes or more. If you did not catch the first episode that we did about a month ago, please go back and watch that. You can watch it before this, or you can watch it after this. You should go watch it if you missed it. But we've got in the house tonight, we've got Mr. Luis Nasser, we've got Anthony Ferraro, we've got Chuck Alvarez, we've got Rick Labonte, and George Lamie. Greetings, everybody. How you doing tonight?
Greetings,
everybody.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, brothers.
Brothers of Prague, right?
Yes.
Prague. So we've each picked out 5 additional favorite epic tracks. We'll see where everybody goes with this. We'll have each person give a start at their number 5. We'll go round and round and round till we get done with everybody's number 1s. I'm going to go based on the way I'm looking at everything here in the Zoom. We're going to have George go first, then Rick, then Anthony, then Chuck, then Lewis, then myself, and then we'll go right back around again. So, George, kick us off with your number 5.
All right. Mine is a band from Sweden, 2008, Andromeda. The Immunity.
Oh, nice.
The track is called Bale of Illumination. 1725 in length, actually. I actually take notice of the lyrics of this one. I get a kick out of it. He's kind of a snub on religious sheep, I would say. People that just take everything at face value and just don't question anything. Musically, it's 2 long verses, and then a long middle solo part with an insane keyboard solo, a long ambient guitar solo before it comes back into the verses and goes out. But I highly recommend this one, Bale of Illumination.
Great band, man. I haven't listened to them in a while. I have, what did they have, 2 or 3 albums? I'm trying to remember.
I think 3. I think it's.
Was it 5? That many?
Oh,
Wow.
They've been on hiatus since 2011, though.
Yeah,
so.
I know it's been a while, right? Wow. I think I only have 3 of them. Maybe I have.
I remember that album. That's a very good album.
It's really good. The debut is really good too. Yeah, they were another one of those bands that kind of came out like in, sort of in that Dream Theater mold, but then they really started to show their own characteristics with the successive albums. We're great musicians, man. Really good. Good choice. Good choice. And just everybody watching, before you ask, yes, we will put all of our picks in the comments section after we're done. So you'll put me in those. So if you, for whatever reason, can't make out what we're saying, or you can't see the picture of the CD or the album, just look in the comments section. It'll be pinned at the top from all of this. So that being said, Rick, what do you got? Number 5.
Okay. This band is known for the epics. I mean, they're known for put double albums all the time. I'm talking about the Flower Kings, and to pick an epic, you got a lot to choose from. And so I literally spent the weekend listening to all my favorite and narrow it down. The album I would recommend people to go to.
Oh, yes, I love that album.
Stardust We Are, and I did like the In the Eyes of the World, but the one I think beats it for me is on this album, and it's great to hear entirely because there's part 1, part 2, but I want to talk about part 1, I Am the Sun. Part 1. It's 13 minutes and change, 15 minutes and change, and it's from the album Space Revolver. And I think I just love the movement. I love the ebb and flow through it all. It catch me right off the bat. From part 1, some of the previous picks I made, it fit in that category. It's just that it's more in the the year 2000, and it's a really incredible album. And I just think it's the way that opens it up. It kind of does everything right up front. And you can encourage you to continue with the rest of the album. So Flower King, folks. I mean, take your pick. There's many great albums with the epic, but this is my favorite today.
So I haven't looked it up, and it'd be interesting to see. So if we were to look at all of their albums and all of their songs, I would say about 60% of their repertoire falls into this category of 10 minutes, right?
Big time.
A lot that's 30 and more.
Yeah, exactly, right? A lot of them go over 20, so yeah. Oh, we got a kitty.
Arthur.
Yeah, the prog kitty.
Right.
Lewis has got those.
I have them. There's one over there
Oh.
and another one here. And for anybody who's got motion sickness, I apologize.
So George's will make an appearance at some point tonight too. Who knows, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, Anthony, what do you got for your number 5?
My number 5 for Prog Epic Part 2 or Part Due comes from a band with a leader who is pretty much known for his prog epics, his power pop, his psych, none other than Utopia, Raw, singing, and his glass guitar and electrified fairy tale. Last track, over 18 minutes long. Can't get much more epic than this. Starts out with a little Rundgren verse, and then he turns into a little troll, and then it goes into the harmonies and back to a Rundgren verse, and the musicianship and the time signatures, and it's just a phenomenal track. So that's my number 5. Signaling and the grass guitar, electrified fairy tale. I can't talk tonight. From 1977 off Utopia Raw. Total epic.
This is an electrified fairy tale.
Sorry, just had to throw it in there.
That was good.
Well, my little chipmunk voice there. Right? Actually, the leprechaun, right? The leprechaun.
Leprechaun.
Yeah. How about those like solo trade-offs, like 3/4 way between Rundgren and
Good call. Absolute prog.
just
The
amazing.
harmonies what makes a tune for me. I mean, they're just gorgeous.
So good. I love that. That whole album is great. That's a really, really great album. So very cool.
Good choice.
Good choice. All right, Chuck, you're up.
All right. Good evening once again, guys. My number 5, sadly I didn't do it on the last show. My number 5 is from a great band, a great British band. It's their second album. It's the Muse Shazam.
Ooh.
And the song is a cover of the Ars Nova, Fields of People. I don't know if you've ever heard that song before, but they take on Ars Nova's pretty simple mind. It's a US band. Their sound is a bit more psychedelic, but the Move just takes it to a totally different level. If you ever heard this version, it's just unbelievable. Fields of People from Shazam 1970, The Move. Yes. Yes. Oh,
Both of these albums.
I'm telling you, The
Really
Move is a
good
great band. Great band.
It's a pretty deep cut. Well done.
All
All
right.
right, Lewis.
When you said Ars Nova, I was thinking of the Japanese trio.
Yes.
Exactly, yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, that they go up and play bondage. Yeah. Anyway, so since Anthony said it's Part Deux, I'm gonna go to a band that I love very much. They're from Belgium. I'm talking about Univers.
Oh, yes.
This is from the album.
I love
it out of the box because this is no good. Heresy.
Great album.
Love it. Love
And
it.
The track is the opener, La Faux,
La Faux.
which is the scythe.
Mhm.
And also as a late salute to the great Roger, who we lost
Rest in peace.
recently.
Mhm.
This is the birth, in my opinion, of death metal is right here.
Mhm.
Wow, that's quite the statement. Yeah.
Mhm.
Pretty
All you gotta do is just speed it up, give it a blast beat. But this is basically the formula, and I will debate anybody on this. Bring
Love
me
that album.
Bring me all these metalheads for the. It's cool.
Mhm.
I
That
love
album and the first Present album are both pretty
Yes.
creepy stuff, right?
Yes, very. Mhm.
I just love this stuff, and if you guys have never had the chance to see them live, highly recommend it.
I wish I would have saw them. Oh.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they played at Near Fest. God, what year was that?
2003 or 5, one of those.
Yeah, it had to have been, right? Yeah, they were amazing. They were so good. Oof. Yeah, I have most of their catalog. That's a really, really good band.
Love them.
Good choice. All right, for my number 5, the these bunch of Dutch guys who I dig quite a bit. Focus. How about a little Eruption?
Yes.
From the Moving Waves album, which is the second Focus album. Awesome song. 22 minutes, 35 seconds. It's for those of you who like Gentle Giant, there's kind of a Gentle Giant feel to this song. Oh, there's Kitty right there. There we go. It's kind of regal, great keyboards. But most importantly for me, this song is all about the magnificence that is Jan Akkerman. Guitar greats of all time. He plays all these amazing jazzy rock solos throughout this song. And it's just, again, it's all comprised of like 15 different parts to this big epic song. It's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's got bits of jazz, it's got prog, it's got rock, a little bit of kind of folky things, some medieval sounding stuff. Amazing. So if you have, I mean, this is their classic album, right? It's got the Hocus Pocus song that everybody knows. Lodi yada, lodi yada, lodi yada. Everybody sing. Lodi yada, lodi yada, lodi yada, lodi yada. We all know that. But there's great stuff on this album that is not all about the yodeling. And Eruption is a amazing epic. That's my number 5.
Beautiful. Good choice.
Everybody's bringing it today, man.
There we go. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. My number 4 is title track from this bad boy.
Oh, yes.
Enigmatic Ocean.
Bringing that back.
It's a 4-part suite. My shortest of the night at 12:06, but yeah, fantastic opener. Then there's a high-speed second part led by Steve Smith, just wicked beat. Or a long solo section with Alan Holdsworth and Ponty himself, and then come back and bring it down the stretch, bring back the opening part. This is a fantastic song. Frankly, I could have picked a few other Ponty suites, but this has always been my favorite. So, Enigmatic Ocean.
Everybody needs a little Enigmatic Ocean in their life.
Yep.
The world is a better place with Jean-Luc Ponty. Yeah, that's a great choice. I mean, yeah, and you got two amazing suites on that album, right? The closing. How long is the tortoise piece? Is that over 10?
Yeah.
Got it, right?
Around the same, 12, 13.
Yeah, I thought so. For those of you watching who maybe missed our Jean-Luc Ponty episode, you need to go check that out. We talk all about that and a lot more. So just wanted to throw that in there. Back to Rick.
All right. I'm going to go with Spock Beard, number 5, or the V album, whatever you call it. It's the very first track. At the end of the day, 16 minutes and change. This is a great song for, what a welcoming, it's a welcoming tune. Once you get into it, you have to listen to the rest of the record. But I love it for the harmonies. I love all the instrumentation. It's just fantastic. It's so fluid. I got to tell you, 16 minutes go by really fast. You know how the expression is, time goes by fast when you're having fun. You can't help it be indulged in all the things that are happening. And it's so much movement and emotion. I really like this song. I think if anybody wanted to give that a song a spin, you'll see why.
Saw them live, what's their first ever gig in New York City at the Bottom Line. Pete, did you get to go to that gig?
I was at the BB King show. They played there, I think, later on after Neil had left. They played. I saw them at Nearfest a couple times, actually.
Because I saw them. I only went to the first show that night, and that's still one of the best shows I've ever seen. Yeah, I was literally Dave Morris could have just stepped on my face if he wanted to. If he could have said, you're troubling me, he could have kicked me in the face. I was that close to them, but the show was unbelievable. Love that album. Cool. And they did an excellent version of that song too, Rick.
It's a great song. It's funny. The Flower Kings and Spock's Beard. To me, I always kind of started listening to both of them at the same time. They're both like two of the leaders of this kind of like wave of prog that started in the 90s. But I find, and this has a lot to do with what Rick said before, I find like if I'm going to listen to a Spock's Beard 15 or 20 or 30-minute song and listen to the Flower Kings 20 or 30-minute song, I find that I get through the Spock's Beard ones a little easier. And I don't know what it is. I'm not saying because I love the Flower Kings.
So do I.
I find that the epics from Spock's Beard don't feel like 20 minutes long. And I think, Rick, you kind of hinted at that before. There's something about those vocal harmonies, man, that just like, and you got the Moogs and the Hammonds and the Mellotrons, oh my, right? And everything else that goes in with it. It's just like, there's something to me very magical about Spock's beard, and especially when Neil was in the band. I love the stuff they've done after 2, but there was that, Neil has got a way with creating vocal harmonies, melodies. He's unmatched, I think, in modern prog rock. The guy is a genius, and there's something about all those epic tracks on those first like 5 or 6 albums that are just they're all amazing. So that's a good choice.
And yes, and it's like a luggage because he carries it with him when every band he goes to. Flying Colors, Transatlantic, he brings that Beatle-like harmony. You can tell he's a big fan of that. And to me, we speaking about Abbey Road earlier before we went on live, and it's just like that. Where remember that medley that they have on Abbey Road, and it goes from one thing to another. To him, that's what they're doing right here. To me, that's what they're doing. They're putting bunch of songs into one song and give you everything, including the kitchen sink, but they do it in a way that it's enjoyable and accessible. And I think that's what it is. It's not so much to say, hey, let's trip you out on time signature. No, let's take you on a journey. Let's take you on an emotional roller coaster. But it is definitely a vibe.
Yep, I totally agree. Good choice. All right, Anthony, back to you.
My number 4 takes me back to my favorite year of music, 1975. And we're going with Ian and the Boys, Baker Street Muse, coming in at like, I think 15 minutes. This is not your typical epic, prog epic. It's more of it starts out with an acoustic part, and then Ian's just gorgeous vocals, and then kind of Martin kicks in. It's more of an electric kind of acoustic type tune. But man, for 15 solid minutes, it jams. I mean, it's a total, and I think it's the last epic they ever did. They never played it live, sadly. In fact, from what I understand, Minstrel in the Gallery and Cold Wind are the only 2 tracks I ever played live from this album, which is a shame. But Baker Street Muse for me, number 4, 1975, and it's the last track, side 2, or just one.
Louis, did you say that was your favorite album by Jethro Tull?
No, Songs from the Wood.
Oh, Songs from. Oh, okay, all right.
It's my second.
Oh, okay.
Minstrel is great.
I love Minstrel.
It gets better with age, I think.
It really does.
Yeah.
All right.
All
My number 4 is one of my favorite bands. Another one from 1970, my birth year. Van der Graaf. The Least We Can Do Is Wave at Each Other, and the song After the Flood. Perhaps what's Van der Graaf's finest hour. It's one of the best songs that they've ever did. And if you've ever heard the BBC version, the live version, it makes this song sound even better. But at times it could be proto prog, a little bit towards Gentle Giantish and so, but it's 11 plus minutes of just plain madness. And once again, Van der Graaf Generator. Love this band. I love this song.
How about that vocal from Mr. Hamill on that, huh?
Yes. Oh man, I know there's a lot of people that's going to see that they're going to lose their minds. Oh, that guy and his voice.
He's definitely a love it or hate him type of thing for most people, right? Yeah.
The majority of the people on my page can't stand him.
I don't know. See, I never had any, I listen to him 24 hours a day rather than have to listen to a Magma album, right?
Right. I am.
Oh man.
I got told by 2 people today on Facebook that I am nuts for not understanding Magma. And I'm like,
please. Okay. Oh, go out there, get a life. Oh man.
I haven't tried, right?
Yeah, you've tried, and it's just not your thing, man.
I'm sorry, Jacob. I've tried, man.
That's right. Message delivery, Jacob. Tried. Lay off. Go to the gym.
Exactly.
All right. So the next one for me, I believe, was not mentioned last time, but it's a composition which I think is unparalleled, and it's going back to 1973, and the band is Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Yes.
And this is Karn Evil 9, all 3 impressions.
All 3. Mm-hmm.
I have to say, a few years ago, I had the opportunity to play in an ELP tribute.
Mhm.
And it's one thing to listen to it, but then when you actually have the chance to study it and you have to learn it,
Mhm.
it takes on a whole different dimension. This is an unbelievable composition,
Mhm.
start top to bottom, and it's very hard to play.
I could
Especially
imagine.
Second Depression.
Mhm.
It's very, very tricky. You really have to be. It's almost like jazz. You have to listen a lot.
Mhm.
You know, and in a different way from guys are accustomed to. It's really amazing. This record gave me a whole new window into Keith Emerson. And
I would love
later I
that
can
album.
tell you. No, we need to get moving. But there's a very good anecdote that Andre Cholmondeley, Keith Emerson's tech, told me about Keith Emerson in Japan doing karaoke. That is very funny. But this one, Karn Evil 9 was not mentioned, and I think this is a Stone Cold classic, so we have to go with this.
Yeah, that's one
Love
of the things. You look up progressive rock in the dictionary, and they tell you go listen to Karn Evil 9.
Yes. Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
Or Tarkus.
Or Tarkus. Yep.
Tarkus. Yeah.
Tarkus is great, but it's not. It's a different beast. It's like
Yeah.
they were learning how to do these things, and then they perfected it.
Mhm.
It's great. It's great.
And ironically,
Lake.
that's one of the songs that really caught on radio, as complex and crazy as it is, right? Go
And
figure.
the one little chunk, though.
Right, exactly.
That one little edit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah.
The man with Greg Lake, the man with the golden voice. I mean,
My favorite
between
singer.
69 and maybe like 75. Oh,
Yeah, unbelievable.
so angelic.
Mhm.
He was a special
He was
talent.
in great form.
Yep. All right, my number 4, we're going to go to 1971 from In the Land of Gray and Pink. We're going to go with Caravan's 9 Feet
Yes.
Underground.
Oh, yes.
22
Love
minutes
it.
and 43 seconds of some incredible. So my first pick, I talked about Jan Ackerman from Focus with that long, majestic guitar solo in that song in Eruption. Here you've got Dave Sinclair on
Mhm.
organ, who just, I mean, what has he got? A little bit of fuzz on that organ, right? It's just
Mhm.
it's amazing sounding, and it just goes on and on and on, and weaving and rambling and twisting and turning. It's just such an amazing, amazing track. Some great vocals on here as well. I mean, this is just such a lovely album anyway. And if you've never listened to any of the Canterbury stuff, this is a must-hear album. And 9 Feet Underground is an amazing track. It might even be my favorite track from this band, but amazing stuff. That is my choice for number 4.
The late Richard Coughlin. Oh man, what a great drummer! One of those.
What a
unsung
cool
drummers.
cover too.
Love the cover. But, an overall. Mhm.
I mean, that's such a.
Love it. Mhm.
I mean, if that doesn't exude prog, I don't know what does.
Oh,
Absolutely.
You know, they think that the Canterbury scene is always whimsical until you listen to 9 Feet Under. Great song.
Nothing
Mhm.
whimsical about that, right? That's just,
Nothing.
it's almost
I
like
see.
got the
I
song.
seen him do that song live. By the way, they
Oh, you
do it
did?
incredible. Yeah, I was at the UK festival with Uriah Heep and Vincent Caravan played the night before, and then on the Saturday or the Sunday, whatever, where Pineapple Thieves are the headline. Caravan and Soft Machine played, and they did almost so many songs from that album. Pete, it was they said it's still one of their most demand songs on when they go to concerts. Everybody's asking for that.
No doubt. It's their classic. So it's great album, great song, great, really good band.
Yep.
Big time.
All right, number 3, George, what do you got?
My number 3 is from just last year, actually.
Haken.
Virus.
Meet us.
Yeah.
The song is called Messiah Complex. It's 17 minutes. Broken up into 5 parts. Frankly, with Haken, there's one on every album. I could have picked any of them. They're all incredible, but this one's freshest in my mind, and I think it's got a lot of good, nice twists and turns in it. But yeah, I mean, Haken, you got so many to choose from. I just happened to pick this one, Messiah Complex.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a really strong album.
Mhm.
It's interesting.
It really is.
Like, are they prog rock or are they prog metal, or are they just kind of somewhere in between?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I find them
Indeed.
valid.
They're good.
They are. I like them.
That's the main thing. They're really good.
They
yeah,
really
every
are.
album is really strong. Every one of them.
Yep.
Every one of them. Yeah. And man, those guitar players, whew, smoking.
Yep.
Great choice. All right, Rick, back to you.
All right. Again, I'm not picking any of the original 5 from part 1, but like Lewis, ELP was next. And but these 2 songs are sort of a draw to me. I had to literally flip a coin before the show came on to make sure I had given the love to both of these songs. One was Tarkus from obviously, and Take a Pebble, and Take a Pebble 1. Take a Pebble 1. I really like that song because to me it was so moody. It's the way I like the King Crimson first album, I Talk the Wind and all that. So you know, it's captivating. It kind of like caps you in that mood, and you just can't help feeling the song. And I just love. I mean, for the time, you know, it was 1970, and the way the piano, it's ear candy with when you have headphones on, hearing the stereo mixes going back and forth. And for 3 instruments, it's incredible how much they did, you know. And this song is pushing 13 minutes, it's 12:37 or something like that. But I'm gonna go with Take a Pebble. I agree with Lewis. It's a little not choppy. It doesn't have the ebb and flow quite a bit, but they did a great job of, you know, sandwiching this material together. This seems like it's fluid, you know, it feels like you're running water and you just turn it off and it ends as it rolled off the joint. So awesome. And that's what I feel like. Take a pebble. You know how you throw a pebble and make ripples? That's what it sounds like when with the piano being so so close to that atmosphere. I mean, it's very visionary when you listen to this music, right? You don't even have to have words. You just listen to music and it'll take you to that very scene.
I love that song, but I have a beef. I don't like that Greg Lake is credited as the only
Acoustic.
There's no way
one?
that was a group arrangement, right? That's not a Greg Lake song.
No, it's not.
And so, but in the record it says Greg Lake. I never understood that because it's mostly, I mean, he does the verses, but then it's just cosmic jam.
Yep.
Right. So
Beautiful song.
So I think that's something that people also don't realize, the importance of arrangement. Right.
I find that first album is a little underrated in their catalog.
Yes.
I love it.
Great.
I
mean, the Barbarian.
Tank is so good.
Oh yeah. Knife Edge.
Knife Edge, really.
Oh man, that's my favorite. To me, that's like
and
bombastic is when they can be.
And Lucky Man.
You know, I guess
Lucky Man.
Conspiracy theory is Greg Lake wrote Lucky Man when he was 12. I guess I don't know.
Well, apparently it's true, and I think Pete can corroborate that the little Moog solo was they had this rule that whoever was a producer had final say. And when Keith Emerson played at the Nearfest, he told everybody that he was just getting acquainted with it. And Greg Lake said, "That's it." And I was like, "What do you mean? No, that's it." No. I was just, that's it.
What a lucky man he was.
Actually, it was a solo that he hated. He was just noodling. That was not what he intended to play at all. He was just trying to get the oscillators where he liked them. And Greg Lake said, "No, we got it. Next song."
Kind of like what Sid Barrett told the backup band of Soft Machine when he was working on his first solo album. "Hey, that's the cut. That's the take." Huh?
The good old days, right?
Yeah.
All right, Anthony, you're number 3. Back to you.
My number 3 goes back to 1979, and the very first CD I bought from this band because a good friend of mine said they had a Floyd vibe, and boy was he right. Eloy, The Apocalypse, track 3. It's over about 14 minutes long. It starts out with this just beautiful keyboards, and then Frank comes in with a vocal, and his guitar is so Gilmore-esque Animals type, and it's just a long, just killer synths and killer guitar and the drums. When you're listening to the instrumentation on this song, it just very reminds me of like parts of Animals. So I was hooked when I listened to this right away. So I'm going to go with The Apocalypse from 1979 by Eloy, track 3, and it's over 14 minutes long.
Love it.
Love it, buddy.
Best Eloy album right there.
I
Among a lot of really good ones. That's my
Yeah.
Too bad they never got to tour. They never got to tour here, man.
They were going to play Nearfest in 2012, and Frank had the bicycle accident. That's when I got to see. That's when I got to see George's favorite band again at Nearfest.
He was finding an opportunity to use that. He was waiting for it.
30 minutes in, first mention.
Well, this is another good one. There was another good one.
Yeah, that's Ocean.
I love that one. Between those two albums, they're like how I feel about Animals and Wish You Were Here. They're like, I don't even know Animals my favorite, but they're so close.
It's a very, very Pink Floydish, kind of Camelish. I love that album. Oh man, especially Ocean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, great choice.
Anthony, does Eddie know how you feel about him? have you actually expressed? You never know.
George, it's time to take another drink.
Do you have a fan club for him on Facebook? You got all kinds of other pages.
Well, I have met him 3 times.
Okay.
I've seen a picture. I've seen one of them.
Yep.
Yeah, there is documentation.
Picture.
Well, Pete, one of the last times I saw them 5 times, and I actually saw Eddie 5 times, and I saw the last 2 shows I saw him. They were in Philly, and when I saw him in 2013, I had a poster from the Zinc tour that it ended up it broke, but I showed him it was on my wall. I probably freaked him out because I'm probably the only one that has something like that left.
Yeah, you might.
Because it was something I got off of eBay for like $30, and I had it framed, and it just fell one day, and the glass broke and everything. But I showed it. I was like, "Hey, this is my man cave," and he probably thought, "Oh, what a weirdo."
Oh man.
So if I ever get to talk to him, I'm going to be like, "Oh, do you know Anthony Ferraro?" He goes, "Oh, is that the guy who brought the poster to that show that one time?" Yeah.
No, I had it on my phone. I had the picture on my phone.
On your phone, okay.
Yeah. I'm not that nerdy. They wouldn't have let me in.
Yeah. I guess it depends on the venue, but I've seen people bring weird stuff to shows.
Yeah, exactly.
I once saw somebody come up to Ian Anderson and she commenced to play her flute to him. It is the saddest display I've ever seen of fluteness and enthusiasm. Ian Anderson shows up telling everybody he had a rough time of it with his dinner. So there's going to be like a quick, short meet and greet kind of a thing, and this chick just busts out her flute and demonstrates her chops to him. It was so, I mean, this guy was just mesmerized by this, like, what is happening?
Obviously, she was thick as a brick.
Oh man,
she didn't get it.
She attempted to break the back piece. It was so strange.
That's too funny.
So in the big picture, a bedroom picture of your wall poster is not probably as extreme as others.
Yes.
Now, just never show him your tramp stamp, and you'll be.
All right, Chuck. Oh man! Oh, this is too much, man.
Sorry.
My number 3. My number 3 is from the band Nektar.
Ooh,
1972. The title track, "A Tab in the Ocean."
Yeah.
What's a cosmic jazz rock, right there, if you could call it that. The late Roy Albrighton, man. This band was just on fire, man. And matter of fact, the entire, you can just listen to the entire album. It's a great album.
Oh, yeah.
But that title track, man, 16 minutes and 52 seconds just goes by like this. Just a nice flowing, great song right there. One of the best tracks.
That's a top 2 or 3 Nektar song of all time. Easy.
Yep.
That whole album is great.
It really is. Yep. Hey, I see you got your buddy back there.
Yeah, he's right here. He keeps.
you got your.
You trying to? Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Is that Tala?
Yes.
Here comes trouble.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, room. Exactly. Oh boy.
A frog dog. Right?
Oh, frog doggy.
It's awesome.
All right, Louis, you're up.
All right. So for my next one, I also believe this was not mentioned last time, and I would be remiss to not talk about it because this is one of my all-time favorite epics. I'm talking, of course, of the epic tale of Johnny Pilgrim.
Johnny
You know,
Pilgrim.
Jethro Tull, A Passion Play.
Love it.
And this
Love it.
is the Steven Wilson remix that actually additional music, extra 2 minutes that were faded out from the original that nobody remembers why. This is a record that everybody loves to hate, but I love it.
Love it. My number 2.
I love it. I even like the rabbit, the hare who lost the spectacles, because to me it's just it's the final exclamation point.
This is the story of the hare and his spectacles.
Yeah, it's so good.
Donations at the door, please.
You're on fire tonight, Pete.
I was inspired by last night's Hudson Valley Square show.
Oh man.
He's still high from last night. It was
Man.
that was epic. I love that album. I love it. I think it's got, without a doubt, the very best moments of Jethro Tull music, in my opinion.
Same here.
I just love it. And there are other versions of this where it's the previous recordings where they aborted and then they came back, that are also excellent. The Chateau Disaster or whatever they're called. But I grew up listening to that. Like for me, 1973 had some of the best records ever. And I just love that record. It's plus it was the first Jethro Tull album I bought with my own money. Like all the other
that
ones
always means something. Yeah, absolutely.
That it was like bootlegs that I got in the subway. But when I got some cash, I was able to buy that, like the vinyl. Like it was
Nice.
I love that.
So do I.
I love Passion Play, and I think I even like the Chateau Disaster tapes a little bit better.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that beforehand.
Yeah,
It's like it's heavier. It's got more. I don't know. I mean, I love them both. Don't get me wrong, but I just I don't know what they thought was wrong with the original recordings, that they would go and scrap it all. But it's just interesting to think. And again, there's no other band like Jethro Tull that does this, where they've got so much shit in the vaults that they, record and don't put on albums and then throw them back out there 30 years later. And you've got all this stellar stuff. And the fact they had this whole album, that's amazing. They scrapped the whole thing, used bits and pieces to make Passion Play. And
she loves it.
she obviously does not agree with what I'm talking about here.
No, I think he's telling you to play it.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you my next pick, and then I'm going to have to go let her out. I'll let you guys continue on without me. So,
okay.
Yes.
So my number 3 pick is from 1970. I'm going way back here. It might be the earliest one we've mentioned so far. This is on the debut self-titled album from Wishbone Ash.
Oh, Phoenix.
And it is, of course, Phoenix.
Nice.
10 minutes, 28 seconds. So it's just makes it over the hump of what we're talking about. Just a lovely jam. I mean, these guys, along with the Allman Brothers, probably the creators of that twin guitar harmony thing. And I'm telling you, man, Andy Powell and Ted Turner, brilliant guitar players on these first couple albums. And the whole ending, like 4-minute solo, is basically Ted Turner, and then they come together and do the harmony thing. Just majestic, just absolutely incredible piece of music. And it's like the fastest 10 minutes and 28 seconds you'll ever hear in your life. It just, like you said, all these songs take you on a journey. This totally takes you on a journey. A little bit of singing in it. It's mostly instrumental. Absolutely face melting stuff. Love it.
Excellent.
Great choice.
Love Phoenix.
All right. So I'm going to pass it back to George. I'm going to zip out for a second. So I'll be right
back. All right. George, what you got, George?
Number 2 from this album
Oh, I love that album. I bought that. I still have that on cassette tape.
Track is called Tale of Daring. It's 1648. 4 chapters, a very epic build-up before heading into John Patitucci bass solo, then a combination drum and piano solo that has to be heard to be believed. It's crazy. And apparently was the first take in the studio, which is even more insane. And then they come out into the guitar solo, and they go down the decrescendo at the end. It's completely epic. One of those definitely takes you on a journey kind of a songs. And for a 16-minute fusion epic, there's actually a production video for this. Like,
I didn't realize that.
Like an MTV kind of a deal. But obviously, no one ever played that.
You know,
What year did that come out, buddy?
1990.
1990. Because I saw him in 92, but they didn't play anything off that album. I was kind of saddened about that because I love that album.
It's
Matter of fact,
masterpiece.
it is. It's a great album. It's a great album. I love that album. All right. That's an excellent pick. I like that. Thanks, George.
Am I wrong to assume that the captain has left and now we're in control of the ship?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
We could laugh some more.
Okay.
All right, Rick, you're up. You're number
All right.
2.
I don't know if Lewis is encouraging mutiny, but I'll go ahead. Without running any order, I'm going to go with the band Camel's Mirage, Lady Fantasy. I love this album a lot, and
So do
I do
I.
love that track. It's just like the what we said before. It has that ebb and flow that we like about prog music, and this is like that. Lady Fantasy from Camel, 1974 Mirage. I love it. It's fantastic.
Great choice. Even though I missed your whole monologue, that's a great choice. Good choice. That's a great album too. Great album. All right, Anthony. Well, I got back to
My number 2 is a band that is pretty much MIA. They did 2 albums. I saw them in Nearfest in 2010, blown away by them. This is coming from their second album. The band is called Astra. The title track is called The Black Chord. It's about a 14-minute song. Just psych, gorgeous harmonies, just a lot of jam, and it's very reminiscent of early Floyd in a way. But Jimmy Vaughn is the leader of the band, and great vocals and great Hammond, and just a great band. And it's so disappointing that that they released that in 2012. Around 2016, 2017, there was a rumor they were kind of working on a 3rd record, but nothing's happened yet. So here's hoping. And Ken Golden, if you're out there, sign him. Get him a record deal. We want a 3rd record.
Hard, man.
Yeah. You're fired.
Yeah, I like that album a lot. That's really good. That's really good.
It's an excellent album.
And before we get to Chuck, so I didn't, because I missed it. Rick, how do you rate that Camel album in their catalog? Is that like your favorite album or one of your favorite albums? I'm just curious.
I love between that and Moon Madness,
Okay.
and I love the music from the Snow Goose a lot. But I think that this is the one I've always, if somebody wanted to get the first take on Camel, I thought this is a good introduction. Moon Madness is my second choice probably for, and if they're already prog fans and they like stuff like Spock Beer's Snow, then they're gonna love Snow Goose or anything that's a concept album. But I really like this album a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I kind of feel the same way, so I was just curious. Cool. All right.
Not
Chuck,
that
back to
anybody
you.
cares, but Lord Latimer is on my bucket list. I don't think I'm ever going to see him, but
Yeah,
just thought I'd throw that out there.
doubt it.
Yeah, I think the chances of them coming over here for anything at this point are
They haven't played here since 2003.
yeah, it's a long
They
time.
played Nearfest and they played a couple shows, and I didn't get into them until like 2005, so that's more my fault than anything.
Yeah, great band.
But as you said, Pete, you can't know everything. You can't learn everything like right away.
No, it's I mean, there's a ton of stuff that I got into really late, and by then it's like, all right, what can you do? There's too much out there.
Oh, too much.
Indeed.
All right, Chuck, what do you got for us?
All right, my number 2 is the debut album from a polarizing band, the Mars Volta.
Nice.
Oh, what's that? The Mars Volta
Nice.
from 2003. The amazing Cicatriz ESP, man. That's like mixing Roxy Music with Santana. You know, just an amazing band. And if people ever want to hear how great Flea is as a bass player, this is the album that you should listen to.
Yes.
Flea, Red Hot Chili Peppers, you know how I feel about them. But on this album, he's just outstanding. And John Frusciante as well. You know, he has like a full Manzanera type of vibe throughout most of this album. That track right there, you know, there's a lot of great tracks on here, a lot of jams on here, like the Drunken Ship of Lanterns, forgive me, and Roulette Dare and Tírame la Arañas. I know how you feel about about spiders, you know. But this album right here, man, it's not for everyone. Once again, you know, you listen to the Mars Volta and you hear the screaming and it's so loud and you're like, oh, I can't get into them. But their debut album, I don't think they've ever topped this over here. That's my number 2 pick. Once again, Cicatriz ESP. It's 12 minutes and 29 seconds of great music right there. That's my number 2. Mm-hmm.
George, what did I miss? What was your pick?
One you'll like.
Oh, well.
Inside Out, yep.
Say no more.
That's right. Say no more.
Say no more, man.
Great album. Great album.
Ah, the ultimate, yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
All right. What do you got?
I'm up. So I'm gonna continue with the trend that I have. I'm gonna cite a song that I believe was not mentioned last time, but which for me is like the definition of the perfectly written epic. It's like water. It just finds its level. It's not a second too long or too short. It just goes through what it has to go, and that would be from the debut of Spock's Beard, The Light.
The Light. Mm-hmm. Love it.
Absolutely love this track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is back from the early. I think it was released in the mid '90s or so.
95.
Yeah, and it's just this record stopped me cold in my tracks because I had no idea that anybody was making this kind of music anymore, and it was just like somebody took all the things I liked about the Beatles, Yes, and Gentle Giant, and made this new thing happen with this incredible drummer. Nick DiVirgilio is an incredible drummer. Everybody in the band is awesome. And just like Chuck said, whenever you got to see those guys play live, it was an almost religious experience to see the Morse brothers playing one guitar with 4 hands.
Love it.
And then doing all the other stuff they were doing. I saw multiple tours. I saw them do the Day for Night tour.
Oh, I love it.
Then they did the V. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. So when they were all together, before I guess God said no, it was an amazing experience. Really I love it. They were great.
No, they really were. You know, like I said, I'm kicking myself for not going to the second show the night that I saw them because I just couldn't believe how great they really were. You know, I have people that are like, oh, you know, I went to the second show and it was better. I was like, yeah, whatever, man.
No, you had to be there, truly.
Uh-huh.
Like, you know how people say that? You really had to see the original band live.
Exactly.
To appreciate the insanity of awesome that they were. Because as good as the record is, live was so much better.
A million times better.
Yeah, it was incredible. So I just fell in love with the band. I thought, you know, it's so good.
They headlined the very first Near Fest, and it was pretty amazing. They went on really late because Solaris would like not leave the stage, and like guys, and I mean, I remember I was standing off stage, hanging out with the Spock's Beard guys, and they were getting really pissed that you know, their time had come to go on and Solaris is still playing, and Solaris is going down a storm, and Spock's Beard's manager goes up to Rob LaDuca, goes, if you don't get those guys off the stage in 5 minutes, we're not playing. And Rob was like, oh, and he literally, the Solaris is still playing, and Rob walks up on stage, he's like And the singer of Solaris is like, he looks at Rob, he goes up to the microphone, and goes, "One more song," and he rips it. I was like, what are we gonna do here? It was the funniest thing ever. And
in their defense, they flew in from Hungary.
Exactly, yeah.
So, I get it.
And the crowd was loving them, so it's not,
I get it.
Yeah, I heard that they said that they were pretty good, so I could understand that.
Man,
it was crazy. But to go back to Lewis's point before, there's something to be said about either you're already a prog fan or you're just getting into it in like the early mid 90s when you've got bands coming out of the woodwork like Ekelin and Spock's Beard and Flower Kings and Anglagard and Glass Hammer. I mean, all, Arion and, Dream Theater to an extent, all these bands just kind of coming out of the woodwork with this great music. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, this genre is alive again. Right. I mean, it was pretty special.
Some great music came from there too,
Yeah. Big time.
All right. You guys ever seen this concert? When they brought Neil back to do the Snow album? It's a live DVD and CD, and they brought him back, and kind of like a reunion. So they brought all the singers that's been taking over his position, and so it was a full band. It was almost like that Yes Union, where every member that was a Spock Beard member were there in the show. And you guys got to check it out. I mean, just as you describe them. Great live. I mean, I put on the album and then I put on this. There's very far few between, yet it's been a whole 10 years went by before they played this live. And you wouldn't know it. You think they're still touring this album. That's how tight they were in performance from the album to this live. I was really impressed.
I saw them at the bottom line after Neil had left, and they played like excerpts from that album. But Spock's Beard, just like Genesis, Nick DiVirgilio, phenomenal drummer, great singer, but the dynamics of the band changed. So that, not to say that they weren't great, because they're still a great live band, but it just was different. It didn't have that religious experience like the way it did when Neil was still part of the band. Yeah. But I was kind of saddened that I never got to see that live. Mm-hmm.
I will say, though, I think that they have come as close to recapturing that early brilliance with Ted Leonard on vocals.
I love Ted Leonard.
Albums. For me, anyway, I kind of, and this no disrespect to Nick, who I think is an amazing drummer and a great singer, but I think their sound changed a little bit. Those mid albums where he was the lead vocalist, and then when he kind of, when he left the band and Ted came in, I think they kind of returned a bit to like their earlier sound. But with no Neil in the band, you're still going to miss that element.
It's the songwriting. The songwriting changed.
That's exactly it. Dave Marrows told me that. We were talking about it when they were doing the Feel Euphoria tour. He said, "Look, man, imagine that you happen to be in a band where one of the members is like Mozart, and he leaves. He takes away all the songs.
Yeah.
Right? So you're left with a supremely talented group of players who are great songwriters in their own right, but they're not Neil Morse.
Right.
No.
So it's just one of those. It's like Pete Townsend leaving the Who. They're finished.
They're done. Yeah, absolutely.
That's right. Big time.
It's just that simple. There's some people who you cannot replace. They're the writers. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. If it's just musicians who are going to play and interpret, that's easier to find. And those guys are great, even to this day.
Yep,
right?
still, yep.
But it was not the same.
Yep.
And they were, for that particular tour, they seemed to be a little bit agitated. They were a little bit like, they had the double drum set up, and it was a complicated thing for them. It was hard, so
Jimmy
kudos.
Keegan.
I'll respect them always immensely for just soldiering on.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And producing a lot of quality albums, right?
Oh, absolutely.
They never released like straight up garbage at all.
Well,
and they released some really good ones.
Yes.
The Oblivion Particle is great.
Yep.
And then that other one, the Nocturnes and Sleep, and
that's a very nice album.
And it has a Neil Morse composition in it. And immediately it's there, right?
Yep. All right. Number 2 for me is got to have some Frank Zappa.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So 1979, from the Sleep Dirt album, The Ocean is the Ultimate Solution.
Oh, nice.
13 minutes and 20 seconds.
Beautiful.
Kind of a tale of two songs here almost, right? You got like the first half of the song is this breezy kind of jazzy, and then all of a sudden Frank kicks in with this Herculean guitar solo, which is like 6 minutes long.
Yes.
It goes on and on and on, and it's so amazing. And it just, Frank was such an original guitar player, and I think sometimes he doesn't get enough credit for the great playing that he contributed to all these albums. But man, when you want to hear a just absolutely supercharged guitar solo, just put on The Ocean is the Ultimate Solution, and what a journey he takes you on. It's just so amazing, so amazing.
Wonderful choice.
Oh, love it.
All right, back to George. Number 1.
Yeah, it was like pulling teeth leaving this off the first list. I think you picked it, Pete. I don't know that anybody else did, and no one else mentioned him tonight. Yes, To the Edge.
Yeah, I did pick that last time.
Yeah,
that was my number 1.
What can you say about it? Everybody knows it. It's basically a perfect song. I mean,
Live or studio version, still love that song.
Yep.
It's amazing.
everybody knows all the stories about it. It was put together piecemeal in the studio, piece by piece, and just how they came out with that at the end, I don't know. But as good as some of their other ones are, like I really could have gone Gates of Delirium, but can't be Close to the Edge.
No, it's really hard. Yeah, they've got a bunch of great ones. You mentioned Gates of Delirium. Awaken is magnificent also.
Well, I'm one of the
Heart
few
of the
that loves
Sunrise.
Yes.
Pete, I saw when I saw ARW when they first toured and they're playing Awaken, and I'm just sitting there, and that keyboard part in the middle, I'm just like, I cannot believe I'm seeing Wakeman play this. It was just like a out of body experience. It was amazing.
For me, I think the best version of Awaken I ever saw is when they played it on the Union tour at Madison Square Garden in the round. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, so many
The
great.
35-year anniversary when they did South Side of the City. I love that.
Sky.
Yeah. They
And
didn't
they
play that
blend-
for a long time.
And yeah, that was amazing. And they extended that tune too live. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, you got to have Close to the Edge. It's and it's so. I mean, George, you bring a good point. It's like when you hear all the stories about how that song actually was created, you would never think it would sound so perfect. It's almost like they that's exactly how they wanted it to come out, and instead it was this kind of patched job of all these different parts and things they played in the studio, and voila, you have this amazing track, which is to many people the greatest progressive rock song of all time.
Agree.
Yeah.
And especially the wheel tape back then were 20 minutes long as it is, and that's longer.
Right.
So they had to add another tape onto that, and it's a bunch of tape that was taped together, and they cut it with a razor blade just to make that all work. That's amazing.
It's like it defies logic that it should have ever come out that way, right?
Yeah.
All right, Rick, you're number one.
All right. It's gonna be Transatlantic. It's gonna be probably my favorite 21st century prog band. They haven't put out a bad album at all. And what epic do you pick? You could pick a whole album like this, but I actually went with this one. I'm gonna go with Bridge Across Forever and the first song, Duel with the Devil.
Yes.
And that's pushing 26 minutes and 43 seconds. And very good, great. Most people, what they do in the whole album, they did in 26 minutes. Like for as an arrangement, making sure that you let everybody be a star in the band, everybody get to shine, everybody get to have an opportunity of a moment, but it sounds like a band. It sounds like a one group effort, that's for sure. That's what I like about this. It's like, it is a super group. And you know, I know this is not their full-time gig. They're all in other bands. But when they come together and you put these brilliant people, it's like, you know, superheroes getting together, you know, making a team. There are the Fantastic Five, if you will, or four. I guess there's an extra player now that comes and play with them live. But anyway, my point is you could pick any of these songs. There's 3 good epics on this one. You could go Stranger in Your Soul, but I picked Do It With the Devil. That's my pick.
That's an excellent pick.
Yeah.
That's an excellent album too.
Neil Morris's keyboards on that tune are pretty badass.
Yes.
Yep.
Everybody brought their A game to the table.
Well,
They
they
always
always
do.
do for that band. Yeah. I mean, the new album is great too. I'm still trying to digest that whole thing. It's-
I
So-
got the two of the records, and it's a different experience in both albums. You think you're getting the same, you're not. It is a totally different album in its own way.
Very cool. All right, Anthony, you're number one.
My number one for this round is we're going to go to 2005, Porcupine Tree, Arriving Somewhere But Not Here. Just another stellar composition from Mr. Wilson. Definitely kind of song that's very haunting and dark, something maybe you want to play like at night, but just a gorgeous, gorgeous epic. I know Wilson tries to hide from the prog label, but this song is fantastic. And he one thing about Wilson is he's arrogant about everything except for his guitar playing. His guitar playing has a lot of Gilmour like tendencies to it. And this is one of the songs that you think of Gilmour's tone. It's just haunting and it's just fantastic. So I'm going to go with Arriving Somewhere But Not Here, 2005, track 5, and they did play this live. It's on the DVD.
Yeah, but he still even in his solo career, he still plays that one song. You know, so I guess that he must really love that song because I saw him twice afterwards, and he just kills on that song.
Yeah, it'd be a shame if he forgot all of his great Porcupine Tree stuff.
Gosh, I'd like to choke him.
Well, last time I saw him, he must have played. They must have played like six or 7 tracks.
Anthony, when you did a DVD, is that the one in the Park West
Yes.
in Chicago? I was at that show.
Oh, really?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was a great concert.
Oh,
Park West was just a few blocks from my house, so I just
Excellent.
walked there and I saw it and then walked back home. It was a great night. They were. It's an incredible band. They were doing it, but you know, it was also. He didn't seem to be having fun.
I think that's what it was. I really think that's what it was.
Say that. He didn't seem to be enjoying it.
No,
I remember him when he was early, back when you could email him and he would answer, right? He would have things to he was trying very hard. I saw him play in a record store, right, in Maryland. He was like desperate to get that, and then by that point he was a little bit tired, understandably, right? The whole tour for In Absentia was brutal. So I love that song, but it was a hard journey to get to that point. So I totally respect that guy, and he deserves all the success he has and twice that on top, because he has worked his ass off.
Oh, he really has.
Amazing. But yeah,
it's
a beautiful
and,
song.
and the drummer, Luis, and the drummer in that band. Oh, Gavin's just
underutilized the Crimson.
Or Gavin, we're going to be mentioned today, right?
Oh man.
Funny.
Oh man. All right. Well, I'm up, right?
You are.
Oh, okay. All right. My number one is going art rock style, 1976. You know, it's going on the theme of what we had beforehand. Is this prog? Is from David Bowie's Station and Station, 1976 album.
Nice.
The title track. What's that? You know, this is a guy that was just, when he was alive, he was on another level of special. You know, he left that glitter and glam and art rock behind and so on. And he took on the Thin White Duke. And this entire album right here is it's his most famous album here in the United States. Not a single bad track on this album. David Bowie, Station to Station, and that title track is 10 minutes and 13 seconds of absolute killing art rock prog right there. So that's my number one, David Bowie, Station to Station.
Good choice. That's a great album. Yeah, really good album and a great song.
All right. So for me, I'm not listing them in order of preference. I'm just listing, This one is a choice that for me was a great discovery. I first heard these guys play live at Baja, and they completely blew me away. I'm talking, of course, of imagine ELP goes to hell, and they're singing in Italian. Il balletto del bronzo.
Love it. Love it.
This is a majestic album, and it's just
Love
one
it.
entire epic.
Love it.
With I cannot tell you how impressed I was when I saw this 3-piece pulling it off live, and this guy playing these crazy keyboards, singing in this operatic voice. But he's like this weird Italian Eddie Murphy. No, not Eddie Murphy. Sorry. He was just like
With
this
the makeup on and everything.
Yeah, he just had this weird charisma about him that he was like a little bit, there was something not. The elevator didn't quite reach the top floor, kind of a thing. It was really, really an unbelievable thing. And then after the show, it's like, you're not worthy. Don't, move away. Here he comes, right? And he just whisked away. And it's like he wasn't even there. It was almost like, was this guy a vampire? Was it like real? Was this like the undead? I don't know. But it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. So I just had to mention it because I know that a lot of listeners don't like Italian or necessarily music that's not in English. But I don't speak Italian, and you don't need to. This is amazing. Right?
Oh, it really
this
is.
record is amazing. So
I wish that they would clean that album up.
Clean it up.
I wish they would clean that album up a little bit because it's still a bit murky, but that doesn't take away from the intensity of the album.
To me, it's almost like somebody did a field recording in Dracula's castle. This is how I interpret it. Like there's like, because it's
the
such
soundtrack for the monster den.
It's a great epic, and
it really is.
I would be remiss not to mention it.
Yeah, it's so over the top, that album, and it's just and Luis totally gets it absolutely correct. I mean, when they played at Nearfest, it's like you didn't know what you were seeing. I mean, he's up there and he's looking all. I mean, we were like, look at this guy, and then all of a sudden, I mean, he's playing. He's got all these keyboards, and the sound was like bigger than life. And then you go to talk to him afterwards. He barely spoke any English, and he was wearing so much makeup. It was
man,
sweating, and it's all running down his face. It was like, it was almost comical, but the was like amazing. I mean, it was
like he was protecting himself from the sun. It was going to kill him. He had to layer it up. It was so much fun. This guy is amazing. I've never talked to the guy, of course, and I have no notion of anything about him. But that record, I love it.
Yeah,
it's one of the greatest Italian progressive rock albums of all time.
And there are some great albums from the Italian prog scene.
Yeah. I mean, again, you look up bombast in the dictionary. There's a picture of the guys in Il Balletto di Bronzo. I mean, it's just like. And what's really weird is you listen to their first album and then you listen to that. It's like night and day.
Yeah. Two totally different albums.
Yes.
Great. All right. My number one has already been mentioned today. Baker Street Muse.
Baker Street Muse.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's got everything that we love about Jethro Tull in it. It's got the great Ian vocals, it's got the flute, it's got crunchy Martin Barr guitar work, it's got great rhythms, it's got that majestic kind of Renaissance era feel to it. So great. And I'll go on record saying that every year that goes by, as I keep getting older and older and older, I find I love this album even more. I think this album, to me, has aged really well. And it's like, it's not full of songs we've heard a million times before. I mean, I love the title track. Cold Went to Valhalla is great. Black Scent and Dancer. I mean, the whole thing is great. And then you got the big epic at the end. I love it. So Baker Street Muse, had to include that in.
I think it's a great record for guitar lovers also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Acoustic guitar galore and electric, and the way they're. Well, as you know, I like that sort of idea of blending electric with acoustic.
Oh yeah.
So for me, that is, and Andy Tillotson also. We both love that record. It's just so good.
Yeah.
No,
I
I
would
don't
say
blame you.
probably my favorite Martin Barr albums in the Tull canon. Probably this album, Aqualung, and maybe Benefit.
Love Benefit. My favorite Jethro Tull album.
Me too. I love Benefit. It's hard. I just did a show the other day picking like favorite albums through the decades of Jethro Tull.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you commented like how hard is it to pick your favorite 70s Jethro Tull album?
It's
Big
hard.
time.
You
I mean, you can make a case for any one of them, right?
Anyone,
Except for
War
maybe
Child.
Walter Rock and Roll, right? But all the rest of them are just,
But you got to give a pass to Quiz Kid.
Mhm.
Quiz Kid is next level compositionally.
I love Quiz Kid, but that's probably the only song on that album that I really love. The rest is
Same
okay.
here. Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
I like Salamander.
Yeah,
Salamander.
Salamander's pretty good.
Yeah.
Salamander's pretty good. But you know,
But it is. I agree with that. That is the least of the most.
Mhm.
right. But every other
I mean,
album,
it's got the catchy tune, and then the rest of it's kind of like. But if you on the book version, you actually get to see a performance of the whole album, which is actually pretty cool.
yeah, it is definitely cool. Yeah, I agree with it. Yeah, the box set's worth having, even if you're not a huge fan of the album. But yeah, so many great albums from this band through that decade, man. Songs from the Wood, Heavy Horses, Storm
All the
Watch,
way. All the way
Child. Mhm. Yep, all the way through. Yep. Mhm.
Thick as
It's-
a Brick,
yeah.
Passion Play, Aqualung, of course. A lot of people
Storm
always
Watch-
default to
Storm
Aqualung,
Watch is great.
But
I
yeah.
love Storm Watch.
Yeah, I think people pick Aqualung because of all the FM radio staples
Well, that's
that
the
they
thing,
got
by
played.
default, right? Yeah, I'm just gonna pick it
Right.
because I know that whole album. But man, what about all the rest?
Right,
Like,
Yes.
exactly. Benefit is the album for me when I want to go my favorite songs in a CD. But when I want to sum up what is Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick is my favorite. To me, that one song says it all. But being I take two sides to do so, I guess so. But yeah, Benefits is my favorite for just want to hear a bunch of songs, and it's not the ones that's overplayed on radio. And
Mhm.
maybe I've heard
Just one
Teacher
song.
quite a few times, but
yep.
Yeah.
great choice.
Even going back to Neil Morse, he did a cover of Teacher, right?
Yes.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
As a matter of fact, I know he did it because Steve Royce from Sonus Umbra played the flute on that.
Mhm. Ah. Mhm.
Recorded it here.
Oh, excellent. Mhm.
And it's that is a very well known song. But to me, to cry you a song,
Oh, beautiful
Really
song.
Mm.
man.
Great.
Always sends chills up my spine. Great song. Mhm.
such a great
Right
song.
on.
Mhm. And then with the passing of what's it?
Michael Collins.
Michael Collins. Yeah. Mhm.
With You to Help Me, and oh yeah, so many great songs.
So, Prog Brothers, you guys all talked about seeing Neil Morse at one time or another. I never saw him with Spock Beard, but I did see him with the Neil Morse band with Mike
Yeah.
Portnoy on the drums. Have you guys seen that concert?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, to me, that describes what you guys described when you say about Spock Beard. Mind you, it is a religious overtone on the music, but it is feel like you're in a religious experience watching that band. And he takes some of the element of Spock Beard into that act. There's no question about it with the vocal harmonies and everything, but it's incredible to watch live.
I will say I love the Neil Morse band albums. Those last couple that they've released are spectacular. And they sent me, God, I don't remember what it was, at least 2 years ago, because Neil does that Morse Fest every year down
Yes.
in Tennessee. And they sent me the DVD or the Blu-ray of the full Morse Fest from a couple of years ago. And it was mostly, a lot of the stuff from Ceremony and the early albums done with a bunch of other things. And I think maybe the first Neil Morse band album, they played the whole thing in its entirety, whatever it was. And I was absolutely captivated for the entire time I watched this thing, because it's like a religious experience, regardless of what you think about the lyrical content and all that kind of stuff. Just watching these guys up there playing this music and the audience loving it and watching. What blew my mind? Neil Morse is a great guitar player.
Oh, he's a
He's
phenomenal.
up
Yeah,
the
he
Stratocaster
really
and just
is.
starts
Yep.
ripping away. I'm like, holy cow. They got the Gillette guy who's a shredder, and then Neil comes up and starts playing all this like
So
stuff. And I'm like,
the band is deadly because they got the Gillette guy who's like the utility Petrucci,
yep.
and then they have the keyboard guy who plays sax, right? and then they have the ever present, always awesome, big salute to my pal Randy George, and then so it's a great band. But the first time I saw them, I went down with my friend Jeff Laramie. We went from Baltimore to New Jersey. It was they did the first testimony.
Okay, just love that album.
And this was after the switchover. So I went from knowing in a casual but not really Neil Morris as the guy who he used to be, and then he's the new guy, right? And we go in expecting the brilliance of his music. That's all, right? I hadn't heard the new record. I didn't know anything about it. And then they're all dressed in black, right? And then it hits me with this it's like religious music that I wasn't expecting. And then it's like there's all this talk about suffering, all this, and then they're gonna pause. And I did, because I'm from Mexico City, so I'm always expecting trouble. I did check in the intermission if they hadn't locked the doors. It had a very close vibe. It was very weird. And then when they came back to the stage, now they're all dressed in white. So it had and I don't mean to make fun of him. I respect his belief, but I'm just saying it was very strange for me because it was a big change in my perception of a guy that I had seen live and talked to a few times to the guy that he became. It was a different, it was a totally different experience. So, but the band, I think the band he's got now is just, you can't ask for a better band.
Yeah, they're amazing. Yeah.
Dream team.
The last time I saw them was for the Great Experiment or the Grand Experiment, whatever their album was called. I mean, what can you say? It's just flawless, right? And Neil takes these incredible guitar solos, which he didn't do when I first saw them, right? He wasn't playing guitar in that first time, and then suddenly he's got this little cream-colored Strat, and he's just killing it.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so, dude, you can sing, play acoustic, kill it on keyboards. Now you're ripping off solos. You're just showing off at this point, right?
He's actually a pretty good drummer too.
He played drums for Space Trucking in that.
Yes.
He got on the drums and played. Yeah.
And I think he when I saw them, he also played he also played it on Squonk as well.
Okay, that's right. He did Squonk too. That's right.
Very cool. Yeah, could you imagine two bands you're in is Neil Morris Band and Transatlantic? That's pretty good company you're walking around with.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Cool. So there you have it, everybody. Part 2 of Epic Tracks. I think I smell a part 3 coming up at some point in the not too distant future. So stay tuned for that. I want to thank everybody for contributing some grand stuff here today. Some great songs here. If you haven't checked out any of these, you need to. We will get everybody's lists in the comments below. So be on the lookout for them down below. And visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube.
All the damn time.
There you go. All right. So stay tuned each and every week for In the Prog Seat on Tuesday nights. For George and Rick and Anthony and Chuck and Louis. I am Pete Pardo. See you guys next time. Have a good one.
Awesome.